Today I'm back in Kazakhstan, and I'm going to be riding on the country's so-called high-speed trains. From the western city of Aktyuber, I'll travel the entire width of this huge country over the course of 2 nights, showing you the sleeping accommodation and onboard dining and drinking options. I'll also explain the biggest problem with these Talgo trains on my 33-hour trip. Join me as I cross all of Kazakhstan by high-speed train.
Hello and welcome back to another video, this time for something quite special as I am in Aktober, Kazakhstan, and I'm going to be travelling down to Almaty on board one of the Kazakhstan Railway's new Talgo trains. For this trip I've booked out a first class business room, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Kazakh Railway's premium experience is like. Let's go!
Welcome to the city of Aktyuber at the tail end of winter. This is one of Kazakhstan's largest cities, located in the northwest of the country near the Russian border. Access to the station is granted via a security check, usually only taking 1 or 2 minutes. The station is rather basic, but offers everything you'd want before a train journey of this length. There's a restaurant serving local cuisine, and a number of shops selling snacks, as well as other important accessories. You'll also find a ticket office on the lower level, but unless you book far in advance, you may struggle to find tickets. I'd recommend using the official Kazakh Temir Zholy website instead, which is even available in English. Throughout the building there are a lot of decorations based around the Kazakh national identity. The upper level features a map of Kazakhstan's railway network. Kazakhstan is the 9th largest country in the world, so you can certainly see why journeys across it take so long. My train today is number 52 from Uralsk to Almaty 2 station, departing at 2200. Note how the departure board actually says 2300, and I'll explain that in just a second. But for now, let's head through to the platforms. The platform area is rather basic, to put it politely. My train will depart from track 2. There's another train already in the way. No bridges or underpasses exist at the station, so you just have to climb through any other trains that happen to be at the station. There's also a lack of shelter on the platforms. In winter they will be covered in snow. Be careful not to fall. Following a few minutes of waiting in the freezing cold, a bright light appears in the distance. This is my Tulpar Talgo train for the 33-hour journey across Kazakhstan. These carriages are built by the Spanish manufacturer Talgo, on the opposite side of Kazakhstan. Talgo builds a number of trains with a unique design, found across 5 continents. They are best characterised by the wheel layout, having just 1 pair of wheels between carriages. Translating the Kazakh Temir Zholy website reveals that this is apparently a high-speed train, capable of 200 kilometres an hour. We'll see about that. Anyway, my room today is in carriage 1 at the very rear of the consist. A ticket check takes place before I climb into the Talgo carriage. First impressions, it looks clean and modern, a world apart from the Soviet-era carriages operated on some other routes. I've booked a first class room today, which consists of 2 beds and a sink. And here it is, my home for the next 33 hours. We'll have a look around later on, but first here's our route. Today's route will see us crossing the north of Kazakhstan, running through the capital city of Astana. We'll then head south as far as Shu before arriving at Almaty, the country's largest city. The journey is scheduled to take 33 hours and 22 minutes to cover 2,705 kilometres or about 1,681 miles. We end up leaving Aktyuber on time at 2200. Or should that be 2300? Well, Kazakhstan is situated across 2 time zones, +5 and +6. Our train starts in the Western time zone, which is UTC +5. However, all schedules in Kazakhstan reference the Eastern time zone, where the country's capital is located. Make sure to always check for the local departure time, and when in doubt, turn up at the station an hour early. Anyway, while I was explaining that, I've already managed to make a friend, who has invited me to the restaurant car for tea. The restaurant is split across 2 carriages, the dining area and a bar area where we chose to sit. I had a cup of tea, and as I'd already eaten, opted for a salad. I also got a bar of Kazakhstan chocolate. Safe to say this has fast become my favourite chocolate anywhere. All this came to a total price of 2,400 Kazakh tenge, which I think is pretty good considering we're on a train. But it's already getting late, so I decided to head back to my room and get a bit of rest, rather than starting on the very well priced selection of very strong alcohol. Before that though, let's look around the room I'll be spending the next 2 nights in. The door has 2 locks, for added security in the night. You can find 2 beds, a lower bunk and an upper bunk. Bedding is provided by the carriage attendant right after departure. Once made up, this is actually a really comfortable sleeper train bed. It's also pretty wide. You get a thick blanket with a cover and an amply padded mattress. The pillow was also of good quality. We'll have a proper look around the rest of the room after the sun has come up, but for now it's time for a bit of fresh air before bed. This station is Nikhiltal, where the train reverses to avoid transiting Russia. Our locomotive for the first half of the journey is a TE-33A, nicknamed Teza. These powerful modern diesels were designed in the United States by General Electric as part of their Evolution family. Most were built under license in Astana, Kazakhstan. But now, I'll hop into my comfy bed and get some rest. I awake at the station of Tobol, where we'll make another reversal. From here, the train runs on electric power, with our diesel locomotive replaced by an electric one. Much of Kazakhstan is vast steppe, with endless flat landscape as far as the eye can see. Winter makes it especially monotonous, with the snowy ground and clouds both being white. On this route there are large gaps between stations, and indeed 2 hours after the last station we arrive at Kushmurun. At Kushmurun I decided to have a look at the new locomotive, an Alstom Prima. Doesn't it just look incredible in this vibrant colour scheme? This loco was actually brand new, only a few months old at the time of recording, being built in mid-2021. I also wanted to pay a quick visit to the restaurant for another cup of tea to start my day right. So, let's take a proper look around a business room here on Kazakhstan's Talgo trains. These trains have one major flaw. You may have already noticed, but in case you haven't, see if you can figure it out while I show off the room. As I showed last night, each room consists of 2 wide and comfortable bunks. These also lift up to provide a pair of seats. Above the corridor, you'll find a small luggage storage area. It also features a fiddly table that you can attach to the armrests, if you're patient enough. In one corner, there's a small wash basin, accessed by folding up the table. This dribbled a small stream of water, making it ideal for washing your hands or brushing your teeth. As there's no toilet in the room, all passengers must share one at the end of the coach. This was kept pretty clean throughout and consisted of a modern vacuum toilet. The soap dispenser was working fine, as was the tap. Paper towels are provided to dry your hands. There are also some rooms that feature an ensuite bathroom on the train, though actually finding and booking one of these is quite a challenge, even if that would be a great feature to have on a 33-hour train ride. Back in the room, I found a plastic cup by the mirror. This can be used to collect drinking water from the dispenser at the end of every carriage. Both hot and cold water is available. It's also advisable to pack a few tea bags, coffee sachets, or hot chocolates too, as you'll be able to make these yourself. Under the window, there's a single European style power socket, which actually charged my phone pretty quickly. And rather importantly, the window features a curtain, though personally I found this to be fairly useless at blocking out the light. Lighting controls are located next to the door, with one switch to toggle the main light. Next to the bed, there's an individual reading light, as well as the control for the rather cosy night light. After hours of travelling along the north of Kazakhstan, we arrive into Astana, the national capital. At the time of filming, the city was known as Nur-Sultan, but a few months later was reverted to its previous name. By the time you watch this video though, maybe it will have changed again. All trains that run through here make an extended stop at the station, so it's nice to get out and have a walk around. The atmosphere of this 24-hour transport hub in freezing temperatures was really overpowering. After 20 minutes, we leave for the final stretch of our journey, the roughly 15 hours down to Almaty. Now for the main problem with these Talgo trains. That's the unique wheel layout. Having a single pair of wheels per carriage results in a rough and noisy journey. Just listen to how bad it is. A lot of components on the train were falling off, I'd guess because they are rattled about so much. Just look at how much it makes the water dispenser shake around. Before I get into bed for the second time on this journey, let's take a look at the onboard entertainment options. Firstly is the radio, though I can't say this high-pitch buzz was quite to my tastes. There was also an entertainment portal advertised, accessed by connecting to the train's multimedia network. But this was also not available. You'll probably be better off bringing your own entertainment. For example, download some games and videos onto your phone, or maybe even read something called a book. And I nearly forgot to mention, whilst the door to your room has 2 manual locks, it will also lock automatically. This frequently leads to you being locked out of your room and having to call staff to let you back in. As the endless landscape of Kazakhstan gets darker, I begin to get ready for bed. I've got to say, the constant banging and shaking of the carriage really didn't help me to get to sleep on either of the nights I spent on this train. But eventually, I did manage to doze off. I awake around 8 hours later, now only half an hour away from Almaty. Now on to how much this 2-night trip costs. I bought 2 tickets so that I could have a private room, which came to a total price of 62,430 Kazakh tenge. For 2 people on a 2-night train journey, I think that's actually pretty good value for money. Note that this train uses dynamic pricing, so fares can be a little bit higher or lower depending on demand for any given day. After nearly 33 hours, we pull into Almaty 1 station, though strangely we don't actually stop here. Instead, the train continues to the less modern, yet also actually newer station closer to the centre. And if you were expecting a creative or interesting name, this is Almaty 2 station. In conclusion, this service is a mixed bag. Whilst the comfortable and generally clean interior is much appreciated, as is the excellent restaurant car and all the fantastic staff, the fact these Talgo carriages are so noisy and rough is a really big downside. Personally, I'd always choose one of the normal sleeper trains instead. But as always, let me know what you thought of this train in the comments, and click up here to watch my video on Kazakhstan's slower Soviet-era overnight trains.